Hello, all Eternians, and welcome to the Imperial Review. My name is Stephen, and today we will be interviewing our own Emperor, Emperor AP the First. AP, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing today, Stephen?
I'm doing very well. I'm glad we got to finally do this interview.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm excited about it.
So, AP, I'm just going to be asking you a couple questions in regards to your micronation, in regards to you. Just get a feel for what you are and what you're about. Though I'm pretty sure most of your viewers have a pretty good idea of that.
Absolutely. But for anybody that's new, I'm definitely excited to share kind of some experience from it.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, would you just like to introduce yourself to some of the viewers that may be new and just trying to figure out who you are and what you're about?
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. My name is AP. I am the Emperor of the Empire of Aeternia. It's a project and a nation that I've started now that has gotten bigger over the last 2 years through our YouTube channel. And so essentially what I'm trying to do is just build a community, hopefully make a new entity out of that, a new culture, a new identity, a new country.
Awesome. That's actually really wholesome.
Thank you.
All right, AP. So let's get into the questions because that's what everyone's here about. That's what everyone wants to know. So first off, obviously, being the empire of your own micronation, that takes some leadership skills. You got to have some initiative. So obviously, you didn't just get that experience straight out of the blue, straight out of the womb. So I would like to ask, what were your jobs before you became the Emperor of Aeternia, and could you rank them from best to worst?
Absolutely. So I have actually had kind of an interesting background as far as jobs go. I didn't really start working until I was about 16. But I got my first job then. I worked at a t-shirt shop for tourists in my hometown. And I made like minimum wage. Eventually, my high school had an opportunity where I could start my own business as a part of a club, this thing that was a partnership with the local like business association. So what we ended up doing, everybody had, it was like a competition. Everybody could make their own business. At the end of the year, you like ran for money. So I ended up making a business. It was a t-shirt business. I did like graphic design services and stuff like that. And so I had taken classes like that and stuff in school. I'm kind of a creative person, I guess, focusing on um, uh, design and getting into that business aspect of that. So I started selling t-shirts and stuff to kids at my school, started doing little local things here and there, and eventually was able to do a logo for the city. The little local area had it's a beach area. It's kind of near the water, so they have a little artificial reef that they were building, and I got to design the logo for that, which was pretty cool. But doing that and kind of starting a small business by myself, I feel like helped quite a bit. And then after that, I got, of course, into college, started doing more with my degree, started working more in the sciences, and eventually have been a part of a lot of really cool teams focusing on research and development based around physics. And I think really just understanding how to work with a team, understanding uh, the ways to like set up steps in order to achieve a goal is really important for a leader. I certainly hope that this can in some way inspire, help other people. I think that's ultimately the goal of this, is to be able to share what I know and what I'm experiencing through attempting something like this in order to help. And I think my past, as far as that, not a crazy job history, but I think one that's offered me a lot of opportunity uh, to develop myself and um, to um, work independently, has really given me, I guess, a creative interest and a pursuit for something.
Wow, from small-time businessman to national leader, huh? That's a pretty big jump. All right, awesome. So, speaking of jobs, the Empire of Eternia is definitely known for having this unique economic system, and I believe it's a two-part system, correct? So, could you just please give a rundown of what that economic system is and how it contributes to Eternia?
Absolutely. So it's nothing particularly fancy or crazy in any sense, but what I'm attempting to do is to try and find a feasible way to make something that is a sincere economy for a micronation. There have been many attempts in the past. There are some that are quite successful and ongoing. But in my attempt, I am hoping to effectively take the internet, which I have access to, fortunately enough, and am able to use without too much complication or need for other equipment. And I have a community that I've set up with all of you guys, and that's grown through making small videos. So my attempt has ultimately been to take the YouTube channel that we've developed and the community that we've created through that, through our Discord, and to allow those people being micronationalists, being citizens if they're interested, to develop their own job in a sense. Once we hit our goal of becoming a YouTube partner, we will be able to run ads on our videos, which means that anybody that submits content to the channel will, one, have it seen by our audience, which will be hopefully good to traffic to other places in the micronational community to find content, but as well, it will allow us to make money off of the work of those people, and then in turn provide them with payment for their services. The exciting thing about that is that once a video is published and continues to make money from ads, as long as they've even just produced one video, they will continue to make money off of that, and so will our economic system. That being the case, we can take that money and provide it for other larger scale opportunities, such as the second side of our economy, which you spoke about, being our micronational, excuse me, our Imperial market. Our Imperial market being an online e-commerce site that will allow people to purchase goods and services created by Aeternians. So the interest starting out being to focus down to a very small group of creators, starting here with myself trying to get things out onto the market, and then looking for others who we can set up kind of a distribution network through. In doing this, this is something that requires a little bit more investment, a little bit more money, but hopefully with everybody's help and the partnership of the community that we've created in developing content, we can transition more of that to this market, which would hopefully net us more profit in the short term. That would allow us to make larger investments still and invest back into our community and the YouTube channel, which we're working on.
Absolutely. Uh, so the economic system, obviously, it sounds complex, as is all economic systems. And you definitely mentioned that your community is, well, it's growing very fast in respect to micronational YouTube channels. And your economic system is definitely um, having its ups and downs, but mostly ups as we're seeing at this point. I would like to ask, what is your vision for that economic system, or maybe even your general micronation? Let's say 5 years from today, where do you see your success, if you see it at all?
Absolutely. Well, I definitely see our success 5 years from now, just simply because I feel our success right now. I think everything that we've been able to do so far, all of the feedback that we've gotten talking about our videos and our community has been really, really good. One of the things that we've been able to do, regardless of our YouTube channel, which is the primary driver of our economy currently, or a lot of the other things that we've set up, like our Discord, is our micronational map. That was something that we were able to do that allowed micronations to submit their region for being placed on a map, and allowing that to um, develop further. So what we've seen is there has been quite a large community that's just been able to find neighbors through the micronational map that we've created, and kind of strengthen the communities nearby. So I think for myself, as a micronationalist, when I came into this community, I feel like I've been able to add a little bit to it, and that's fantastic. The way that I see forward is in the next 5 years, if we can be making money on YouTube, if we can be making money with our micronational market, we can be growing to getting land, hopefully. In the next 5 years, I'd like to have something physically established that is property of the Empire of Aeternia, that's explicitly for that use. I want to have a place of business established in the community, the local community where I live, that is able to start developing full time.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely love the optimism, and I can definitely see the basis behind it. Like you've definitely got a huge community backing you. However, uh, as you know, the future is a constantly shifting thing. You never know what's going to happen. For example, like 2020, no one knew this was going to happen. No one expected it to be this bad. All right,
Absolutely.
and and um, I'd like to specifically ask you in regards to your micronation. What did you think was maybe one of the biggest blunders that you had in your micronation? Like maybe a past choice that you made, or even an opportunity that you missed.
Absolutely. So I think there have been quite a number. I think the biggest
Sorry.
thing, absolutely. The I think the biggest thing has been trying to rush things. I feel like that's something that myself, just as the way that I am and the way that I operate, I tend to get into modes where I will have these very relaxed periods, these periods where I feel like everything's fine and everything's very chill. Then I start to feel the pressure of like things as like a month goes on, where I start to feel like a little bit more pressure. I'm like, oh, I kind of want to get things more developed, more whatever it is
Oh
for a
man.
certain time period. Absolutely. So it starts to get to the point where I'm feeling rushed and I'm feeling overwhelmed. So I think I tend to rush things, which gets me into a problem. I'll ultimately take something that, a goal that I have for quite a while out, and I'll be like, well, if I just did this much more, and if I just did this, I could try and get that pushed a little bit closer to a point where I'd like it. And by doing that, I add extra stress, and I think it causes a little bit of testing of limits for the things that we're doing.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. So, in regards to what you said, I feel like there's a lot of micronations who are just trying to rush to success. They immediately, they start their micronation. Boom, we start a war. Boom, we have allies to join into the war. Boom, uh, we have soldiers. Boom, we have a Ministry of Defense. Obviously, that directly correlates to your rushing success. So, what would you say? Just a quick thing to those people. Just maybe tone it down.
No, I think that's exactly the right message. I think as one of the first videos I did on the channel, it's been, I don't know, not that long ago, but uh, one of the more exciting videos I've done on the channel, the ones I've been interested in, are the one's talking about realist versus fantasy, talking about specifically things that a realist nation is attempting to do. There's definitely nothing wrong with having fantasy nations, hanging out with your friends online, saying, "I'm this, I'm that," whatever. But it is interesting when those groups of people who are seriously trying to start nations, but may not have all the like things figured out yet, uh, as all of us do, or other groups who have uh, sincere fantasy as aspects of their nations. It's interesting to see them come together because they don't. It always ends up in some sort of clash. So I first wanted to kind of address that on the channel, and then going forward, seeing everybody who then does call themselves a realist, does ascribe to saying, hey, no, I actually am trying to create a nation. From there, seeing people who nonetheless are still very eager to say, well, this is my entire like tax law, and this is all of our, this is when trash pickup is and stuff like that, but don't have like land,
Mm.
is a thing that's interesting. One of the things I'm hoping to do a video on pretty soon is territory and unrealistic territory claims. So it's that's a perfect kind of example of that. When people are rushing to do things, when they want to seem legitimate, they do things that are very exclamatory, things that catch attention, like saying, I own half of the solar system, despite the fact that there's no real benefit to that to anyone other than you to say that you own half the solar system. So for those sincerely trying to figure things out and develop communities and build relationships that ultimately fuel economies and do great, awesome projects together, you have to have some standard. You have to have some way to say, okay, this is what is generally viewed as acceptable in our community. This is what's generally viewed as the path forward. These are some of the things that may be kind of deterrents or kind of uh, things to steer away from. You shouldn't discourage other people from doing what they're passionate about, but for yourself, you should always kind of keep in your mind, well, what's more important to me, the realism or the fantasy aspect?
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, I think that's really good advice.
Yeah.
And also, those of you watching, you just got a little sneak peek into a new video that AP is working on. So, speaking on your videos, obviously, in regards to both views and, you know, like ratios, I found that arguably, in regards to statistics, the most important videos on your YouTube channel, which obviously you guys are watching right now, Empire of Aeternia, are your tutorials, your micronational tutorials to videos, viewers who are looking for help in regards to establishing and developing their micronations. What was your inspiration in?
Absolutely. So I think the thing that's been exciting about it is when I got into it, seeing how separated the community felt. I've talked about this on our live streams before. I would get on things like MicroWiki, and you could find pages about these different micronations, but emailing them may or may not have done any good. Going to their website may or may not have done any good, because they could either be shut down or no longer active. They could be on hiatus. It was hard to find people who were actually large active communities. As I got further and further into micronationalism, and started finding those communities and started developing that understanding, it felt like, everybody had the same kind of questions. 90% of the things you'll see if you go on r/micronations, one of the bigger forums for micronational discussions and things. If you go on there, 90% of the topics are, hey, how do you create a flag? How do you create a currency? How do you create this or that or whatever? What do you guys think about this type of alliance? What do you guys think about trade? What do you guys, you know, has anybody ever actually done this thing? Does anyone have a navy? All these questions, and there wasn't any clear, concise feedback. Everybody posted, everybody contributed, but there wasn't, go to this source, go to these places to learn about all these different things. So I felt like, well, I'd like to contribute my voice to that. I'd like to, kind of see if I could find a way to create a funnel for that interest, and hopefully uh, direct people to some information. And I felt like that started off with just my opinions and what I had seen and what I thought, which fortunately people had responded to a little bit. But then in developing our community further, I really wanted to hear from other micronationalists. And so that's something that as we've grown, I've gotten to see more and more, and I've been really excited about. Is that now when people come to our channel and try to find content, it's not just here's what AP thinks about micronationalism and war and all these different things. Here's what other micronations do as well. Here's what the community is thinking. Here's how that goes. And so even though we haven't been able to expand into what we'd like to, as far as showing those people on the channel and having those people as contributors, we're moving into that. And in the meantime, we've been directing people to our Discord, which has been kind of the preamble to that, the build up to that. So it's been exciting.
So now, here's what I've been waiting for. So we here at Imperial Interview, I say we, it's just me and my old ass Mac. We plan to start a segment on the show called Deep Dive, where we essentially mull through your micronation's history, all your ideologies, and we pick your brain on your feelings towards those events or people or whatever, and like their impacts on your micronation. So first off, what we're going to talk about is uh, some people may know this because it was a little more recent, and some people might not. Um, Now, Aeternia used to have a northern territory. Could you please tell us about New Maryland and its minister?
So we almost had a third territory. We still have a northern
Really?
and southern territory.
Well, yeah, but there was like
A
the
much northern, like a northern. Yes, yes, absolutely. New Maryland. New Maryland was an interesting territory. That was one of the circumstances where I feel like a big part of it. It wasn't successful, unfortunately. It was my first attempt at starting a new territory of Eternia, other than one controlled directly by myself, that would have its own governor, that would have its own governing body that is external to my direct oversight. That was going to be led by someone that I was super excited about, someone who seemed really promising and really cool. And in fact, I think just had things in their life that they had to tend to at the moment. So I definitely understand its unfortunate end, but I feel like in part it was my attempt at rushing something as well, and trying to build something up that was quite large relatively early. But I think in trying to push the bounds of what we could do and see how things would develop, we continued on, and we attempted it for a little bit, but it just didn't work out, unfortunately. The governor eventually said, the minister of New Maryland eventually stepped down from his position, and then the territory of New Maryland, the Ministry of New Maryland, was dissolved. Yeah.
that would have been really interesting if it had worked out because I saw that video. He had some pretty cool spots in his territory, like that tree with the wicked bench. That was pretty cool. A
Oh,
bunch of other
absolutely,
stuff. I think that could have been great. But yeah,
absolutely.
I definitely I can respect that you weren't like one of the people who'd be like, "No, I'm your monarch, and you must stay with me forever."
Yeah.
I appreciate you realizing, hey, if I keep him around, it's just gonna be dead weight had they not decided to step down.
Yeah, and I definitely understand that. I think it's sad on our end, but also really good. I think the minister of New Maryland, I have no negative feelings toward. I appreciate him for his time and for contributing to our channel. One of the great things about the economy that we have set up, which is something that I'm really proud of and I'm excited for in the future, is that once somebody makes a video for our channel, that is eventually able to compound its investment interest. It's able to really start to grow as the views grow on the video. So the exciting thing about that is even just that small time of contribution has led to some effects and growth for our channel. I definitely appreciate that, and I think that's kind of part of our growth and our development, seeing the micronational community. But I do only hope that the things that the minister did have to deal with are working out for them.
All right, AP. So one last deep dive for you, and this time I went really far back.
Okay.
Like, so let's see who remembers this. Uh, I would like to talk about the Imperial record system.
Hey, I still want to do it.
You
I
still want to
still
do
want to
the
do it.
Imperial record system?
I
Why don't you
still
tell
want to
us
do
what
it.
that is?
Okay. So from the beginning of my channel, I
The
remember, I
very
think it was
beginning.
like the third or fourth video I did.
It was the fourth video.
Fourth video. Okay. Because I did starting the country, whatever. I did how you could create a country, I think.
You did
Um,
starting creating uh, the national uh, the national food and stuff, and then you did the Imperial record system.
Yes. Imperial record system was something right at the beginning of my channel where what I had wanted to do was take the community that we were trying to build up. really just in the comment section of the videos at that time before we got into Discord even.
How many
Um,
subscribers did you have at that
like
point? Do you
so
remember?
few, like so few,
Like
like
15 maybe?
yeah, like 15 or 20 subscribers, and I was like, hey guys, y'all give me your favorite thing, and then no comments on the video. So so I
We
was
all
trying to
have a
get it
dark
started.
past.
It's real, but I
It is
still
real.
hold true to it today. I want some people, nobody in the I guess because they figure it's old, nobody has hit me up on that video with like, this is my record. So I tell you what, one person I think when I did it eventually like found out about it and hit me up and said I might be doing something for it, but then didn't. But if anybody does it, I'd be excited, and I would like post about it on our website and stuff. I would do a video on it. You got to keep me updated with your records. It was a way that I could initially reach out to the community and show sort of more of that aspect, like I've always wanted to. You know, taking it from something that's about my views on micronationalism and expanding it to the larger micronational community and specifically to people who are our citizens. But in that attempt, I think that was also kind of one of those rushed points. I think there's nothing wrong with being ambitious, and there's nothing wrong with really trying to see what you can do, put yourself out there, so to speak. But uh, definitely there are some things to look back on and say, well, I wasn't quite ready for that step, I don't think, but I'm glad I did it. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, our viewers, do your work, get some records in. Let's get this thing going back up again. Let's start the old engine.
We have to. We have to. I need y'all's
Bring
records.
bring in your records. There's literally one record, and it's throwing some amount of peppermints in a cup. I can't remember. I'm not that good at the history.
Yeah, it was like throwing a peppermint in a cup from like so many feet or something.
I believe it was two. It was like 17 or 13 feet.
Yeah, and I did that. So that's
Why do
not
I
that
remember
hard a
that?
record to beat
Why do I remember that? Why is that the
because you're killing it. You're killing the game.
dude?
You're
I
killing
remember the most insignificant things. All right, so AP, we have about hit the end of our interview. I know it's so sad, but I wanted to end it by um, just saying that your work in the micronational community, to many people, exceeds the dedication of many who are usually very self-centered in their own micronations. You are very community-driven. You know, as well as I, that your videos and your streams have inspired many in this community through your tutorials or through just talking discussions in your streams while you consistently die in Minecraft. I cannot get over how infuriating that is.
I
But
keep dying in Minecraft, dude. I'm not, and it's a thing where I've had people come on the videos and be like, "Hey, are you actually gonna do anything? Are you actually gonna do anything in
yeah,
Minecraft today?"
it's
And I'm
gotten to
like,
that
"No,
point.
I'm just like walking around
Just
trying to
vibing.
figure stuff out." Yeah, I'm really talking to people, but I'm excited to learn more about it. I need to start getting up in my game for the Minecraft viewers out
Yeah. So, having said all that, I know that everyone walks into an interview and they say, "All right, whether you had high expectations or low expectations or none at all would have made my job a lot easier.
there.
But definitely, you had some questions coming into it that you would have loved for me to ask. And while I feel like I do some research and I try and get some good questions. I unfortunately feel like I won't be able to ever answer all of your burning questions. So, your most burning question: what did you want me to ask, and what would your answer have been to that question?
um, I think the question I'd really love to be asked is um, what um, what I think micronationalism means. What I think, you know, for myself and for the larger community, what I think the sort of the ultimate purpose of it is, and sort of what role that plays in our society. Um, I'm
I
sorry.
I can definitely understand that. I sometimes you get so caught up in the specifics, you never get to really see the broader picture. So the stage is yours. Give us your view, the AP view of micronationalism.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. I think the biggest thing that micronationalism has to offer, at least for myself and the way that I viewed it, and I certainly feel like that's been a view that's expressed by a lot of people in the community, even people before me. I think micronationalism is a path forward for people. I said something very similar earlier in the interview, just talking about how people are investing in a future. People are putting into something that they hope is successful and can eventually benefit them more than likely. So I think what is fantastic about micronationalism is I believe it is a response to the age that we live in. You know, there was a long time where we lived, the majority of the world lived under feudalistic systems, lived under, you know, uh, more strenuous constraints than now, with other, I guess, methods of freedom. You know, you may not have been as heavily uh, policed, but there may have been other rights and things like that that you wouldn't have had. So there were lots of liberties that were granted, but also a lot of stringencies and a lot of negatives to that time period. So
Yep.
as things have gotten to the modern era, I think what's so interesting is there is a push for an even further democratic system. You know, our democratic systems that we've seen today, created 200-300 years ago, and founded on even earlier democratic systems. I feel like there is some inherent right that people feel like is not being solved today. And I think that is the ability to set out a dream for one's own life and the way that one would like to live, certainly within reason. But I believe that that should be even further respected. A lot of our democratic principles and ideals in the world discuss that and emphasize that, yet many people do not feel that is the case. Even in the recent protests and things like that that have been seen all around the world shows that there are specific groups of people in society who do not feel heard, who do not feel as though they are counted in the same way as everyone else. So I think what is beautiful about micronationalism is no matter who you are, no matter what your journey through life is, it allows you to be able to say, I have a vision for what my life and my future children's lives should be like, and I can create that myself. As long as other people believe in it, and as long as I'm doing the right thing, as long as people support it, I can make something that's real, just as real as the thing that's around me now. So I think that's fantastic, and I think that leads into, you know, even grander futures like space exploration and things like that, where people may literally have a universe of expandable land and won't be, you know, fighting over these small pieces that we are now. Hopefully, that means the ability, the horizon for people to reach for their own futures.
The future is definitely, like I said before, it's like this giant snake. You never know where it starts, where it ends. You just know that it's going somewhere and that you're going along for the ride.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, Emperor AP the First, it's been truly a pleasure to interview you and to pick your brain on the topics and just in general your micronation. Um, so, if you could please just shout out your socials, shout out where we can follow you. It'll all be in the description below, and uh, it's usually there in the other descriptions. If you can't find it there, go find it in another video. But if you could just please shout you out, and then we'll conclude.
That sounds good. Absolutely. If you're here watching this, you're probably on our YouTube channel, but if not, you should check out our YouTube channel, the Empire of Aeternia. Definitely subscribe to us. We just surpassed 750. We're still like barely at the line as of
Yes,
this
sir.
recording. So we're holding the line right now at 750, but we need to push forward to 1,000. Once we get that 1,000, we're on board. So definitely check that out. Check out our Discord. That's where the community's been hopping at. That's where everybody's doing their stuff. Check out our website, to get, on our micronational map, see where other micronations are, learn more about our imperial market, about our history, which Stephen has helped to set up. He's done an incredible job with our website. So if you want to support him, definitely check that out. And hop on Discord, because we're both on Discord. And also, um, feel free to email us. Feel free to catch us on our live streams.
Absolutely. AP, thank you so much. Guys, my email will actually be in the description in case you are an aspiring micronation and you would love to have an interview. You would love to have me sift through hours and hours of micronational history to have a good long chat with you. So that'll be in the description. Feel free to hit me up. Like I said, we're just starting out this Imperial interview show, and we'd love to get it off with a bang. So thank you guys for watching this. Thank you, AP, for participating with us. And we will see you guys, hopefully, in the next Imperial interview. Bye-bye.
See you.